Welcome to Health Station with Carla, where all these come together and more. Joy,
creativity, finances, career,
social life,
spirituality, home cooking, home environment,
education, and health. You are welcome to Health Station with Carla, where all these come together and more.
So we're back after a good 1 week. Joyce is actually, waiting for me to say that. I acknowledge the fact that you missed me last week, Joyce. But anyway, welcome back to the Health Station, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Carla. I will be your health coach for the coming 30 minutes. So we are not very generous with time today. I will be trying to come up with everything we need to talk about. Otherwise, we will have to have a sequel next week. Anyway, today, as you most probably have seen on our banner for this week, we will be talking about food combination, about specifically combining some foods that suits you, foods that don't, basically. Many people find that certain types or combinations of food do not suit them. And this is what Dr. Howard Hay devised in the 1930s. It was a diet plan popularly known as the food combining diet, and it actually helped millions and millions of people towards better health. So the key elements in his food combining diet, let's call it this way, were eating a lot of alkaline forming foods, so foods that increase your blood's pH to 7.4, 7.5, to avoid refined and heavily processed foods. You've got a lot of these nowadays. And to eat fruits on its own and not to mix protein-rich and carbohydrate-rich foods. So I'm just giving you a summary here. I will go into these in details, but let us try to understand a little better the science behind this thinking. Now, bear in mind, this is one of the many approaches to healthy eating out there, and it applies to you if you tend to have flatulence, gas, bloating, a bit of digestive discomfort. But please make sure that you are not skipping on your diagnosis, or if you're maybe suffering an underlying digestive disease, you need to deal with and make sure that your doctor checks it. So we're really talking about food combining to enhance your digestion if you do feel that sometimes you need a push. But if there's any underlying digestive disease, let's say IBD, many kinds, from Crohn's to celiac to even as simple as IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, please consult with your doctor. There might be another reason why you're having problems with digestion, but this is really for someone who doesn't have any underlying problem. So back on track, let us look at proteins. Okay, we're talking proteins, we're talking meat, beans, dairy, egg, and carbohydrates, which are the two main sources. Fruits, what else? Veggies, rice, sorry, that's my mic, cassava, yam, and so on. So proteins and carbohydrates are digested differently, and they go through different stages of transformation once they have been, eaten. And let's say you have a piece of fruit or eba or yam, so we're talking carbohydrates. The digestion of these foods starts in your mouth. So there's a digestive enzyme called amylase that's secreted in your saliva, and that starts breaking down the food you're chewing. And once you've swallowed that food, it actually goes into your stomach, and that's where the environment is quite acidic. And because it's acidic, at this point, amylase stops working. So there's no digestion of your carbohydrate food in the stomach. Only when the food leaves your stomach, where the digestive environment is more alkaline, less acidic, can the next wave of amylase take over. And this time they're produced in your small intestine by your pancreas. And this, of course, completes the digestion of the carbohydrates. That's a really simplified version I'm giving you because I need you to understand different pathways for different foods. Actually the road is the same, the pathway is the same, but the interaction with your body is different. Now, when you're looking at proteins, okay, proteins on the other hand, we're talking meat, egg, dairy, chicken, fish. These have a totally different mechanism when it comes to digestion. So once you've eaten your meat or your chicken or your fish, you chew in your mouth, then you swallow. And all it needs, it's an acidic environment. And that's exactly what your stomach is. It gives hydrochloric acid, which is the perfect environment to break down the protein molecules in your stomach. And that can take up to 3 hours until all those complex protein molecules are broken down into smaller molecules. And this only happens in the stomach. So once they've left the stomach, they go into the intestine, of course, and that's where more digestion takes place. More digestive enzymes do their work in the intestine, and they break those protein molecules into even smaller molecules, which can be readily absorbed. So you have a simplified explanation of 2 different ways foods such as proteins and carbohydrates can be digested. But then again, there are many food items that contain protein and contain carbohydrates. So you wonder, how can your body digest both? Let's give examples like beans, lentils, whole grains, wheat, quinoa. How does this food combining theory work then if you cannot mix one with the other and you can only have carbohydrates alone or proteins alone? So the more realistic approach to it is that foods that are very high in protein, like meat, for instance. Meat is 50% protein and 0% carbs. These are foods that should be digested separately compared to potatoes, which are 8% protein and 90% carbs. So where do we draw the line between which foods should mix and which shouldn't? What can I eat with what? What can I digest with what? I'm going to have to take you back to our primitive past. Joyce, how about that?
Sounds like the only place left to go now.
I mean, you know, it's crazy, but it's true. Most of what we are nowadays is a product of evolution. Mm-hmm. To understand ourselves, we have to go back to our roots. We should understand where we're coming from and how our ancestors who lived for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years lived. Now, the general consensus, okay, is that the human race has been eating predominantly a vegetarian diet for millions of years. This is something everybody agrees on.
I don't really.
Yes.
What about people
with
who
the occasional? I was going to say that with the occasional meat and fish,
okay,
because they would, you know, they would fish the fish. I was looking for the word. Gone fishing, and they would run after not easily because they didn't have guns. They didn't have any easy way to catch whatever prey they had. But meat wasn't available the minute they wanted meat. You had to go and look for something and run after it and hopefully kill it. So it was predominantly vegetarian, with some meat and fish occasionally. It's still there, Joyce. So you have 2 kinds of digestive tracts, okay? You have the ruminant-like digestive tract, which slowly digests even the most indigestible fibrous foods, just like cows, basically. And you have, of course, the speedier, technologically advanced digestive system that produces a whole series of different enzymes for different foods, and this is where we come in. So we fit in this second category, and the system is more efficient, but we can only handle foods that are easier to digest. So if I give you a stem or a stalk, it's going to be very difficult for you to digest it because you do not have the same digestive system as cows. You cannot ruminate. So first, this whole difference in digestive system and their eating approach, evolutionary theorists believe that this system actually served for a good purpose. Number one, it gave them the motive to improve their mental and sensory processing. Okay, so they could know when and where to find the food they needed. And secondly, it gave them more exposure to more nutrients. And that helped develop, of course, their advanced brain. This is why with time, humans have become more and more intelligent, more and more agile. Their nervous system was more developed. And this is how our digestive system also developed more and more during the years. So this is something you should understand. There was evolution. Now, there are 3 basic programs of digestion. I know I'm giving you a lot of history, but I want you to understand why, where does this food combination theory come from? It's not just, I don't like this and I don't like this, I'm going to separate them. There is something to do with how you digest the food. So number one, your digestive system has 3 main programs. It has been created to digest 3 things specifically differently. As I said, proteins. So, you can only just imagine how they used to have their meat. I can imagine they ate their catch, they ate the organs and all, and as fast as possible before it spoiled because they had no fridges.
They would sun it. They'll dry it with salt.
But that's later. We're talking about prehistoric time. We're talking about people who didn't even know yet at a certain point how to make fire. This is where I'm going at.
Okay.
I'm going at a very early stage. So once they would have their catch and eat it as fast as possible before it spoils or before predators even moved in, they might have, spent a couple of days living on nothing but concentrated animals because this is what they were eating. But it was fresh, organic, nutritious meat. All right. And I'm sure at that point they wouldn't say, we need to balance our diet. Let's go looking for some vegetables to add to that meat. That wasn't the case. So I can tell you for sure, at a certain point, they would eat meat and only meat during that day because they were filled enough. So that's one thing. Our second program is to produce enzymes and hormones that are specific to digesting carbohydrates in fruits. Specifically, at a certain time in the year, depending on the season and the climate change, of course, early humans would have had access to certain fruits. And again, evolutionary theorists say that we mainly ate fruits on their own. If back then they had gobbled 3 to 4 to 5 bananas, we doubt they would be looking at the same time for something else to eat. They would be full at that time and then wait a few hours before eating something else. So they would never say, I have to add a fruit to my meal. Oh no, I'm having proteins. I'm going to have, carbs with that. That was different. So another thing about fruits, some ferment quickly and some ferment slowly. And they do the same in a warm, acidic environment, which is what your stomach is. And if this happens in your stomach, you may have discomfort like bloating, flatulence, burping, basically anything to let the gas out. All right? So this is what happens when you eat a slice, let's say, of mango after a steak. Your steak is in there sitting for at least 2 to 3 hours, while the mango that is supposed to pass for 30 minutes max in your stomach and get to the intestine is stuck there because of the steak. And what does it start doing? It starts fermenting. What starts after that? Bloating, gas, discomfort, reflux, digestive issues. So the only fruits I would say that are an exception to this are bananas, apple, and coconut. I am giving you a lot of information, but all of it is on my Instagram page, Carla, NOUJAIMC, at Carla.
It's good.
I was going to say at gmail.com, at Carla, NOUJAIMC. Everything is there, or the information is there, I promise you. So you've got bananas, apples, and coconut, which are an exception. They do not ferment quickly. Okay, so that's something you should be kind of okay with. So you can always have a whole grain bread with some banana as a sandwich or apple on your oat cereals. That's possible. You can have that. Now, the third and most common digestive program, we're back to the third, is having foods that are a combination of proteins and carbohydrates. So we're talking beans, we're talking nuts, we're talking seeds, legumes, lentils, some leafy vegetables, root vegetables like carrots and yam as well. And those are in the in-between foods, the foods that are not too high in carbs and not too high in protein. So you have 3 different programs that work best when they work separately. It's really important to know that. A few other things I'd like to add, and I know and I hope you're all listening and learning from this, but it's really important. I spoke about alkalinity. There are some foods that when they're metabolized by your body, make your body, your blood, either more acidic or more alkaline, okay? And there has been research that people with more acidic blood were more likely to be ill. So what are those foods that make your body more alkaline, so basically healthier? They're foods mainly vegetables and fruits. There are some exceptions. I'm not going to go on to the whole list, but in general, fruits and vegetables are what make your body alkaline. Even if you're having citrus fruits, which are very acid, like lemon, grapefruit, orange, tangerines, these are acidic fruits, yes, but once you take them in and your body is processing them, they alkalize your body. So don't be afraid of acidic fruits. They're actually very, very healthy. So another thing about alkalinity, over-acidic persons tend to be grouchy, sensitive, exhausted, inclined to aches and pains, headaches, problems with sleeping, acidity in the stomach. Smokers have been found to have high levels of acid in their urine. Cravings decrease when your body is more alkaline, and exercise as well has an effect on your body's alkalinity. It makes the blood a bit more acidic but when you do some breathing and meditation, your body gets more alkaline. So to conclude all that, alkalinity,
So meditation. We don't have time.
We will have time. You will don't ever say we don't have time.
Well, I
you
mean,
can
this is
always
Lagos,
find
you know.
time, even if it's Lagos.
Yeah, okay.
A meditation can be you going for 5 minutes in your car, shutting everything down, turning the AC on, shutting the windows, disconnecting yourself from your phone, closing your eyes, and doing some breathing exercise for 5 to 15 minutes. That's already meditation. Trust me, Joyce.
Okay.
That it doesn't have to be a whole ritual of candles and praying and all that. It can be something as simple as that.
I mean, when you say meditation, I remember those Instagram pictures I see where people are like,
that's social media.
Okay. Well, thank you for pointing that
Meditation can be something as simple as, and I'm sure you do it without you knowing, Joyce.
Actually, I do.
Yeah.
But I don't think that people have time because you wake up at 4, they're out.
You will always find time. You know, when I find time, the minute I wake up, I give myself 10 minutes. I lie down in my bed and I do some breathing exercise.
Oh, okay.
That's one example. Or if I'm frustrated about something, I just close my eyes, I breathe, and I do a prayer. That's a meditation. There's always a time that you can find, but you need to be convinced that you can do it.
Absolutely.
As easily as that.
Agree.
So meditation does reduce the acidity in your body. What else did I want to add before I give you the whole summary of it all? Refined carbohydrates. That's a big no-no when it comes to food combining. It doesn't go with anything, people. Don't think that it goes with anything. Highly sugary processed food are not natural foods. Your body hasn't even started its evolution in adapting itself into that. No natural food, except for a very few exceptions, has the same composition as a sugary food that's sold in the supermarket or that's processed. You should think about it this way. Your body is not made to process these kind of foods. So it's really important that you understand that your body is not adapted to deal with a flood of fast-releasing sugars that no matter what will make your blood sugar rocket way high, requiring a lot of hormones and emergency action to restore the balance. So make sure you've got that right. I am going to give you the last tip of the iceberg, Joyce, and it's actually there on my Instagram page, but I'm just going to read it out loud. Combining the foods once again. So high acid fruits like oranges, grapefruits, or pineapple are to be eaten alone.
Okay.
Either 30 minutes before your meal, or you wait at least 2 to 3 hours after your meal, but make sure you have them alone. It's a good energy boost and it's a good snack. Same thing goes for fast fermenting fruits. That means berries, cherries, mangoes, melon, pawpaw, pears, peaches, strawberries. So, I mean, the available ones here are mainly the ones we eat the most are pawpaw, mangoes. You should keep an eye on that. So these also are to be eaten alone. An exception of fruits, as I said, that can be eaten either with vegetables or starches. When I say starch, I mean potatoes, cassava, yam, wheat, corn, rice, oats, rye, pasta, bread, mile, semolina. These can be eaten with apples, banana, coconut. So these starches I just named can be eaten with these fruits. Or can be eaten with vegetables. When I say vegetables, it's green, yellow, and red salad vegetables, leaves, root vegetables, yams, lentils. What else? Even nuts like peanuts. So starches go with vegetables or starches go with fruits that are slow fermenting like apple, banana, coconut. And vegetables go with protein foods or with those fruits which are apple, bananas, coconuts. When I say protein foods, it's meat, poultry, fish, shellfish, whole eggs, cheese, yogurt, and milk. I am reading out loud this from my Instagram page. So you can always go there, have a look. It's easier when you see it. It sounds too complicated when I say it, I know, but it's not.
They already, I think culturally, we do the eba and vegetable soup already. Like that's carbs and vegetables.
Exactly.
Like, you know,
now, I'm going to tell you
wheat,
honestly,
vegetable.
I enjoy having, let's say, a meat with some pasta sometimes. I digest it okay. But
I
some
love that
people
every
don't,
time.
you know. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This doesn't necessarily apply to everyone. But if you feel you can do it with a little bit of help when it comes to your digestion, try separating those foods. Try saying, okay, I'm only going to have my proteins with vegetables. I'm only going to have my fruits on their own. The only fruits I will combine with my starches, with my cereals, with my bread are banana, apple, and coconut. Try it for a month and see. Maybe you will feel better. And if you do, there you go. You would have learned something.
Yeah. Sounds. I like the way I like the practical ending to that. Like, try it out. If
Try
it
it
works
out.
for
You have nothing to lose.
you have
The only
nothing to
thing you have
lose.
to lose is what? Is less health.
True. 0700 993 993 993 if you have a question for Carla.
Definitely.
Yeah, call her and ask her.
There was one more thing I wanted to add. Yes, so we did mention about food combining, that it's not just about the quality of the food that you're combining, but the quantity. The majority of the food, 80% of what you're eating, should be alkaline forming foods, meaning vegetables and fruits. A lot of that. You see, there's always a repetition and a consistency and how can I say, a common point that
Exactly.
fruits and vegetables are always mentioned in
mostly natural things.
mostly
actually.
natural
That's what
things.
you're saying.
And reduce the acidic forming foods like proteins and dairy.
Oh, you say reduce proteins, Carla?
Yes.
Really?
No, not reduce as don't eat at all, but 20% of what you eat is protein, not more, because proteins can cause a lot of acidity in the body.
Oh, I see.
So that's it.
Okay. All right, Lagos. So we have William here for Carla.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, William. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to find out. Thank you very much for enlightening us.
You're welcome.
I always have this noise going on in my stomach each time I eat, like 2 hours after eating. So I wanted to know. I've heard this about indigestion.
Well,
But I eat. Okay, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Are you done?
Yeah, I wanted to say I eat basic Nigerian food, eba and soup, rice and vegetable and chicken and so on.
Sure.
So I wanted to know what causes.
Do you have any gas, any constipation, bloating?
Yeah, I do have bloating after meals sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one thing you should make sure you're ruling out is you don't have an underlying digestive problem. It could be maybe some intolerance to a specific kind of food. So if there are any specific foods you eat a lot of, if these are suspect foods, you might want to omit them for maybe a week or two and see how you feel. Sometimes it's maybe you're combining the wrong kind of foods. You can maybe try for a week or two the food combining guidelines that I have posted on Instagram and see. If you still feel you're not feeling any better, I would suggest you see a doctor to see if there's any underlying digestive health condition that you might be experiencing and not aware of.
Okay.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank-
So we still have time for one more
Emmanuel,
caller.
hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. That doesn't sound like an Emmanuel.
Oh, yeah. What's your name?
Our Hardin?
Hello? Do you have a question for Carla?
Yes.
Yes,
The
go
question
ahead.
is- The question is, how do you digest from the digestive system?
How do you what?
His mom is driving. He's using his mom's
So
phone to
ask mommy
call.
again to tell you the question
What's the
properly,
question?
so I can hear you. And thanks for calling, and tell mommy where there's a will, there's a way. That's so nice of her that she's still trying to get to me while she's driving. I appreciate that. Just drive safe. Hello.
What's the question?
I don't know. I couldn't hear very well, unfortunately.
The,
Oh,
the
he's still there.
question is,
Okay.
What stage in the digestive?
I cannot hear you. What?
What is the stages you have to go in the digestive?
Oh, the stages of the digestive system.
Oh, honey, there's so many stages. The first is, I'm not going to give you a biology course right now, okay?
Yeah.
But the first stage is in the mouth. It's called mechanical digestion because you're chewing
You're
the
chewing.
food. Then you've got the chemical that starts in the mouth for carbohydrates, then in the stomach, and we know where it ends up, don't we?
Hello.
Hello. After the intestine,
Hello.
of course. Hello. Good
Good
afternoon. Hi. Go ahead.
Hi. Please, I'm asking, can we eat beans and bread?
Yeah. Carla,
Can we eat?
what do you think?
Beans
and bread.
Or can we drink beans and curry?
Okay, beans.
Thank you very much. Good Nigerian
Yeah,
question.
very
Carla,
good.
that's
Yes.
a national pride right there.
So one thing about beans, yes, you can have them with bread and gari.
Okay.
Yet, there is a whole myth around beans, and I'm glad she brought it up because I forgot to mention that.
Oh.
Beans contain carbohydrates and
And
proteins,
protein,
okay?
yeah.
But they also contain a protein called lectin, which we do not have the enzymes to digest. It can only get digested once it gets to our larger colon, which contains bacteria that digest it. So once it's being digested, there's a lot of fermentation going on because of the bacteria, which is why we get gas while we're eating beans. And this is why many people say, I can't eat beans, it gives gas. Usually this is it, but it's not that beans do not combine well with other foods. No, it does. I can digest beans very well. There are so many ways out there on the World Wide Web where you can see hacks of ways of reducing.
We've hacked it. Beans and fried plantain, beans bread, beans
Yeah, but
gari.
ways of reducing the lectin content in order for you to digest it easier. Some people soak it for 24 hours.
And drain.
Yeah, and drain. There's so many. Some people put a baking soda. I heard of that. I honestly just soak it for 24 hours, drain it, and then cook it, and I'm fine. But once again, my husband isn't. He can never digest them well. But it's not because of food combining. It's because there's lectin in beans. There we go.
Okay.
One more caller. Hello.
Okay.
We missed that. Hello.
Beans and Gary. Hello.
Beans and eggs.
Turn off your radio. Beans and plantain.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Welcome. What's your name?
Carla. My name is Bayo.
Hi. Go
Real
ahead.
quick, ask your question.
No, it's okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, please. I want to ask what is usually responsible for, belly fatty and all that. What kind of food? Is there any food responsible for that? Or?
All right.
If I had to give you an answer,
I don't drink.
yeah.
I don't drink and I don't smoke. So.
And you have a
I
big
only-
belly.
I don't have, but I found out that maybe it's locked down. I don't know.
All right.
Okay.
My wife has been making jest of me. So
If-
I don't know.
He has a big belly.
Look,
All right.
I wish I could give you one answer. I need to know more about you than just, what your wife cooks and what you don't drink, which is good. You don't drink alcohol. But if I were to give you one word as an answer, one word which I most suspect, it's sugar.
I agree.
So please make sure you watch out for those hidden sugars in your food because they're not just on your tea with table sugar, on soft drinks. It's more than that. Trust me, it's hiding everywhere around you right now as we speak. All right. I'll let you be. We'll see you next week. Joyce, thanks for having me. Sorry we can't take any more calls.
All
We
right.
have the news at the top of the hour.
Thank you very much, Carla. So, catch Carla again next week, 3 p.m. Carla, before you go, what's your Instagram handle?
At Carla, Noujaimc.
No,
Joyce,
wait,
you're going
wait.
to have to learn that Instagram handle.
Can you imagine? Carla, N-O...
Noujaimc. It's actually being posted on Facebook. It's streaming while we're streaming live, so they can
Okay.
always go back to the Facebook video and check it out. Thanks for listening. Thanks for
was
learning.
fun.
And we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Okay, so my work's done. I'll see you next Monday, of course, on the sunny side. Stay out of trouble. Love your neighbors. You love yourself. On Twitter, Joyce Onyemoa on Twitter. And on Instagram, Joyce Onyemoa. And the hard facts with Sandra Kwesili certainly kicks off in about 2 minutes from now. We're Nigeria Info. This is 99.3. Bye-bye.